Join us this Saturday night for Friendo Fest 24, our very first 24-hour live stream at twitch.tv/Steve and Larson. We'll be doing live watch-alongs, playing video games with friendos, and having some special guests planned to drop by. Go follow and hang out, yeah? Hey, friendo, Steve here.
And Larson.
And on today's Going In Raw news brief, WWE may be preparing to hit the road, and a Viking Raider is likely to be on the shelf till next year. But first, it's boss time for the Star Wars universe. Larson, what's in the news?
So back in February, the Mat Men Pro Wrestling podcast reported that Sasha Banks, the boss, the blueprint, shot some scenes for season 2 of the highly acclaimed, at least Emmy nominated, maybe Emmy winning, I don't pay attention to awards stuff that much anymore, Mandalorian, of course, that's all set, Star Wars universe. A trailer for the newest season dropped today, and sure enough, Sasha appears in a couple shots, and it seems like, based on the voiceover that accompanies her shots, she might be a Jedi, which is pretty cool.
Yeah, that is pretty rad. Yeah, this is cool stuff. I watched the trailer this morning. Man, when are you gonna finish that series, the season 1, man?
Well, this upcoming season starts October 30th, so I guess I gotta watch it, finish it all before then. I mean, it's been so long since I've seen like the first 3 episodes. I might as well start all over. It's
truly outstanding, and in fact, it's been nominated for Outstanding Drama Series 2020.
But did it win any? I knew it was nominated, but did it win?
Did that already happen? Did the Emmys already happen?
I don't know, man. I don't pay attention to
Emmy Awards
shows anymore.
2020 Sunday. Oh, it's coming up. Oh, wow, this Sunday. Find out, Larson.
All right, there you go. So you got. I'm gonna, as far as pro wrestling implications of this, let's talk about this. So, Hell in a Cell is October 25th.
Yeah.
Okay. And speculation is we'll see Sasha versus Bayley at that particular pay-per-view. You got The Mandalorian season 2 dropping 5 days later. Would WWE endeavor to make Sasha the SmackDown Women's Champion to help promote her appearance in this particular program, yes or no?
Well, I'm not going to speculate. I'll just ask you this. Let's look back in history when other wrestling stars of yore have had outside high-profile WWE projects. Have they been more prone to put championship titles on them? I know to promote their own markets, like in the case of Jinder Mahal, he became WWE champion because they were trying to promote their product in India. I'm trying to think, obviously, there's been any number of... I mean, the Big Show came back to promote his Netflix show of his own name. He lost in a pretty fun bout against Drew McIntyre on the Raw after WrestleMania.
Yeah.
I think that, featuring her in a prominent spot is probably enough. I don't think that they would change their actual championship, especially with a program like this. I don't think they would necessarily change their championship title plans based on something like this. However, that doesn't mean she won't win at Hell in a Cell.
I don't know if they would necessarily change plans so much as if they look at the schedule and see, all right, well, this lines up.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I'm
not saying they'll change things wholesale, because I hope they wouldn't. They should do what's best for the story they try to tell, although this is WWE we're talking about, so that's not always the case. But I don't know how large a role Sasha has in The Mandalorian season 2. It's a pretty high profile role to land, and it's great for her. And if the WWE thinks that putting the title on her to coincide with this being released means more exposure for her and thus for the company, they'll do it if it lines up with the story they want to tell.
I just don't think there's any precedent. I haven't seen there be any oh, well, this guy's got a movie coming out. John Cena's got a movie coming out. Let's put the title on him to do that.
Well, here's the thing is when in the past those situations have happened, like when Hogan was in No Holds Barred. He came back, they put the title on Hogan because he's Hogan.
Yeah.
When John Cena was in the Marine, that was like, when he first started getting really popular. If they put the belt on, it's probably more so because he was getting really popular as opposed to he was in a movie. I just don't know. I don't know if there's actually any hard evidence to suggest that it's better to market a WWE superstar's appearance or something if they're champion versus.
There's also this to consider. There's no guarantee she's going to be in the first episode. It might be a month afterwards. Yeah. It might be 2 months afterwards because I think there's probably 10 episodes or 10 to 12 episodes of this for season 2. So yeah, looks fun though. Man, Mandalorian, really great stuff. I don't think it really gives us too much of a clue into whether or not Sasha Banks is going to win that title at Hell in a Cell. I think you probably have to look at the story itself that they're telling to see to formulate an opinion on that one. Anyways, one thing we do know though, Hell in a Cell is not going to be in front of fans. However, that doesn't mean WWE isn't going to be isn't still looking to hit the road, because shortly after WWE announced they'd be taking up residency at Orlando's Amway Center with the launch of Thunderdome. Thunderdome.
Yeah, they should do something about that. Cause it's just Undertaker stuff, man.
Reports, you're like, oh man, we're gonna get a lot of views today because the Undertaker. No, it's just Thunderdome. Reports suggested their deal with the arena, the Amway Center, ran through the end of October with an option to renew. But WrestleVotes is reporting WWE is still considering running shows elsewhere after their deal with the Amway Center expires. WrestleVotes says this: over the past week or so, WWE assembled a small team to figure out if running TV from outdoors venues would be feasible once the Thunderdome contract expires. The idea is both SmackDown and Raw would be in the same location each week. Southern states with good weather is the preference, all to be determined. And then John Alba followed up, tweeting that, quote, there are multiple outdoor venues WWE could explore in Florida should it choose to once the Thunderdome deal in Orlando ends at the end of October. The Mid-Florida Credit Union Amphitheater in Tampa immediately comes to mind, plus any other venues should they bring canopies. So, yeah, that's cool stuff. I wonder what that looked like. Thunderdome has been a pretty good success, man. I think that I would have.
Well, I think we know what it'll look like. It'll look like AEW Daly's place.
Yeah, I suppose so. Yeah. I mean, it's not at Daly's place, so it'd look a little bit different. But
that's the template. That's the template.
Yeah. I mean, if given the choice between the two of them, I'd say Thunderdome's better, to be honest with you. I don't know why you'd give it. Like, I think it looks great. I mean, look, Hurt Business, everybody's talking about the Hurt Business from last night's Raw, taking on Retribution. It was a wonderful moment. Keith Lee and Drew McIntyre doing their stereo topes
that was great.
Was really great stuff. That needed to be in front of a crowd. The next best thing is Thunderdome. I'm not sure granted, come November, restrictions, for better or worse, whether it adheres to science or not, will probably be further lifted. And so instead of 10 to 15% capacity, we might be looking at 25% capacity at that point. Yeah,
potentially in Florida at least.
Although
you're talking about fall, winter time of year. That's traditionally cold flu season. We don't know if or how much worse this is all going to be in fall or winter. Are we going to have a huge flare-up again? Not that it's actually ever subsided, but is it going to flare up even more?
Yeah,
we just don't know these things.
But the bigger question, dude, is are those particular states going to do anything if they do flare up? They're honestly, like, it just seems like at this point they're like, well, whatever happens, happens. Whatever, it is what it is. And so even if there's a flare up, I don't know that the local jurisdictions or whatever are gonna change their strategy. Oh, we got to dial it back down. They seem to be uninterested in that. So
yeah,
there you go. I mean, we were in Nevada just 2 days ago, a couple thousand people in an indoors venue. You see like one mask for every 1,000 people. Anyways. Let's talk about this. It's kind of sad here.
This is a bummer, man. So yesterday, Wrestling Observer's Brian Alvarez reported that Ivar of the Viking Raiders, Hansen of War Machine,
Ivar,
would be undergoing surgery on his neck following an injury he suffered last week during a suicide dive spot on Raw. Today, WrestlingNews.co is reporting that Ivar, quote, will be out of action for at least a year and maybe longer.
Mm-hmm.
So that's a bummer, man. Yeah, that's a bummer. That's a bummer.
Yeah, everything you just said is true. It's a bummer.
It's a bummer.
It sucks. Hopefully, this won't be the situation where Eric will be left behind. Maybe give him a repackage, and see what you can do.
Maybe not Viking, just general tough guy.
I mean, put him in Raw Underground, man. Give him a high boot. They need to really start structuring Raw Underground a bit more.
They need stories. They do have stories kind of specific to Raw Underground, but they always feel so half baked.
Well, there's not enough time
make it a
to let
real
them,
thing.
Yeah, and there's not enough time to let them breathe.
Yeah, I mean, it all just seems up to Shane's whims. Like whatever happens there, if he wants to stop the fight, stop.
Yeah.
It needs structure. It needs something people are fighting for.
Yeah.
It seems like people just go there to blow off steam. That's what it seems like.
That's what
there needs to be more to it.
Yeah.
You're upset. Like we've seen Hurt Business go in there twice. They're just upset. They go in there and beat up a bunch of people. They feel better. We saw it on yesterday with Braun. He's upset. He goes in there, beats a bunch of people, and maybe he feels better. I don't know. He just seems to have anger management issues right now from his character's standpoint.
You know what could be cool? Like if they continue along the path they're continuing. Like the idea of Braun versus Dabba-Kato is really cool. So like I'm interested in that for next week. Give everything a little bit more time. And I understand that the matches are meant to be as presented. We're supposed to understand that these matches are more brutal than what you get in Thunderdome. And so if you give us a bit more brutality, because right now it's just like, oh, Raw Underground is silly with the music and stuff. If maybe, I don't know, people bleed on a regular basis, then it might mean something. If Sasha says, it's kind of like Hell in a Cell used to be. If Sasha says, hey, hey, Bailey, let's take this to Raw Underground. And then it's like, whoa, like back in the day.
They can do whatever they want.
Yeah, exactly. So like that's maybe one way you can use Raw Underground.
I mean, from the get-go, Raw Underground has been a concept more than a fully fledged idea.
True.
So if they want to advance the concept, they need to establish some ground rules for this little universe within the larger WWE universe. What are the rules for the matches? What leads Shane to calling someone a victor in one of those matches beyond the obvious knockout or someone passes out?
Yeah.
Because someone just takes like 5 elbows and Shane's like, enough.
Yeah.
Well, there's Jack Daddy Ref in there. Why isn't he the one making that call?
He should be making
Who
the
has
call.
authority in terms of the matches in Raw Underground? How are matches put together? They need to establish the ground rules for this little universe so we can buy into it fully. Without that, it's just like a novel concept that people just go in there and they're upset. Hey, I'm going to beat somebody up so I feel better. All right, done. See you later. And that's it.
So Ivar's out for a year.
Ivar's out for a year, so Ray Rose probably going to be in Raw Underground. Or he's going to be taking a lot of L's.
Hey, and remember,
like we saw on Monday.
This Saturday, speaking of taking L's, we're not going to be taking Z's. This Saturday, 24 hours.
We'll be taking a lot of L's in Rocket League, though.
No, we're not, man. Listen, we're going to do this on our first game, and then we'll have the rest of the stream do whatever we want. This Saturday, twitch.tv/Steve and Larson, 10 a.m. Pacific, 1 p.m. Eastern. Join us. You'll have 24 hours to join us. You can join us, go eat some food, come back. We'll still be there. You can go sleep for 8 hours. We'll still be there.
We'll still be there.
So, yeah. Anyways, a lot of fun.
Man.
Check that out. Thanks for watching, everybody. Till next time, we'll talk to you later.
Goodbye.
Be a part of the best pro wrestling podcast today at patreon.com/Steve and Larson. Enjoy tons of bonus videos, including patron-only live shows, gameplay, and vintage 10 for the wins, access to podcast question threads, the Friendo care package, and so much more. Support Going In Raw today at patreon.com/Steve and Larson.